What is up, YouTube? It is Psychedelic Scizor. I am back. It has been a long absence because I got irresponsible with my uploads. But either way, regardless of my responsibility or not, we are back here with another draft analysis. We are here for the VPL NU League. It is a league hosted by Skyrander. Some of you may also know it from TTM Styx's run that he did, I guess last season, and I got to come in as a replacement after week 1, so we're already inheriting this team at 0-1 -4, but we made some changes to the team, and I think we could have a pretty fun time with this. This is going to be a semi-serious league for me. You know, I'm definitely going to be trying, but I most of all want to have fun with this, bring some fun sets, and without further ado, let's get into it. So, this is the team that we're starting off with for week 2, and I did make some free agencies applicable week 3, so I basically am going to just go over it here in one video instead of having it for just 1 week and then making another free agency video to fill in, but I'll just fill it in as we go along. So, in this draft you get 10 Mons, one of them being an RU Mon. Not all of them were allowed, but there were a select couple, and so the one that I picked up to start off is Mega Abomasnow, because I honestly think Mega Abomasnow is kind of broken in this format just because it can 2-hit KO the entire tier with 132 base attack on both sides. It's also incredibly bulky, slow as all hell, but it's got priority, it's got Leech Seed, it can sub pretty easily because it can force switches. Mega Abomasnow is incredible. It will break anything. I really think, I obviously haven't gone through and looked at everything, but I am pretty confident in saying that I think it can 2-hit KO the entire tier with the right set. So, it's just strong on both sides, got strong stabs, it's got good coverage too, not just good stabs in general. And the biggest thing that counters this is probably steel types, and there's not a lot of good steel types down here in the NU format, so that just plays even more into my advantage. So I'm really excited to use Mega Abomasnow, and I think the best way to play with it is to have Mons that can break those steel types for it, and to have Volt turn into it. Now, I don't think Mega Abomasnow is necessarily a win con most of the time. I think it is a breaker that sets up for other Mons, so that's another thing to take into account. Let it be a breaker for other Mons, and yeah, that's basically how I'm playing it. It's going to be super broken. I already like Mega Abomasnow as a Mon, and being able to use it in this format is just crazy. Next, we've got Electros. Personal favorite of mine. I love Electros from my very early days of Draft League. It was in my first, 3 drafts, I think. And it's just such a reliable pivot with decent bulk. It plays, honestly, a lot better than its bulk says because it has no weaknesses other than Mold Breaker Earthquake. And it is a great Assault Vest user because it has crazy coverage on both sides, and you don't really need to invest in it because it's got decent enough attacking stats. It can do all kinds of stuff, Volt Switch and U-Turn, which I think is very valuable in an electric type, not being walled by ground types. Although, even if it was, ground types can't take advantage of this because it's got Levitate, and options like Giga Drain and Aqua Tail. Now, as much as I love Electros, this is one of the 3 Mons that I switched in free agency, and the Mon that I picked up instead for it was Lantern. Just for a couple reasons. It gives me a better Scald switch-in, which my team didn't particularly like at this point. Mega Abomasnow doesn't really want to switch into those because it doesn't want to get burnt if it is running physical moves, which a lot of times it does. So Lantern does give me that Water Absorb or Volt Absorb, take some of the pressure off from electric types from the Sand Slash you see down there, so it's not the only electric check. The bulk is actually better than Electros's. Now, Electros doesn't have any weaknesses, whereas Lantern is weak to ground and to grass. But besides that, Lantern is still an incredibly reliable pivot. It does not get U-turn, but Similarly to Electros, ground types don't necessarily want to switch into Lantern because it does have Stab Scald, and that is a big risk trying to switch that into there. And it's also a very good Assault Vest user. But besides that, it does have other options. It does have Heal Bell as a Cleric option. Really good coverage all the way around. It's got T-Wave. I'm not really going to go through this one every mon, but just it's got a lot of good stuff going for it. And I like Lantern quite a bit too. Just it's high HP means it's just super bulky naturally, so you can fully invest in the defenses, or you don't have to. You can invest a little bit into attack and still be very bulky and take on what you need to. So I very, very much like Lantern. And moving along, because I'm not trying to take forever, we have got Vivian. This is one of our 3 Z users. We do get 3 per team, which is a lot, but hey, I'm definitely a fan of it. And just to be fair, oh wow, this is a lot more options than I thought. I forgot it had these. I was gonna say the Vivian I'm probably gonna be using because I just like it is the Pokeball version, but no difference in stats or anything, just an aesthetic thing. Now its stats are not amazing. It's got okay special attack, okay speed, and it's pretty frail, so you wonder why is this such a special good mon. Well, a couple things. Compound Eyes, multiplying its accuracy by 1.3, does huge things for this because, first off, that's pretty much guaranteed sleep powders, which aids it in its setup with Quiver Dance, which this is a great Quiver Dance sweeper, and Compound Eyes also helps with Stab Hurricanes. They're suddenly 91% accurate. And that's really scary when you can freely spam Hurricanes without having to worry about missing nearly as much. And Bug Flying does cover a lot besides Rock and Steel types, and admittedly it doesn't have a lot of ways of getting around that, but that is why I do have mons like Mega Abomasnow that can really pressure and break those mons down. Obviously Abomasnow is going to just blow back ground types, or well, yes, ground types, I meant to say rock types, and it'll force steel types to switch in. So they have to pick, do I sack stuff with Abomasnow, or do I weaken my Vivian check? Other than that, that's kind of all it does, but it does a pretty good job of that. It does have Roost, but it's mostly a Quiver Dance Sweeper with Sleep Powder, but we'll see how I can use it. It's, I did wish it reached base 90 speed, but base 89 is still pretty good for Quiver Dancing. Still outspeeds everything at +1 pretty much. And yeah, that's one of our big special sweepers. Next, we have got Wigglytuff, making the return from, oh, I guess you guys don't know this because I didn't upload this, but making the return from Season 1 of the NBL when I won the championship. Wigglytuff was a huge part of the team for that with me. And just because it is so fat because of that HP, just like Lantern, it provides very good wish support with very fat wishes. It is also a Stealth Rock setter. It actually has really good coverage, and base 85 special attack is not terrible. And one thing I like about it being a Stealth Rocker is it does have competitive, which will raise its special attack by 2 if you lower stats. So if you try to defog on this thing, you're just giving it a nasty blot. Another good item is Frisk, just for scouting purposes, if competitive probably isn't going to be helpful. And it's just got great coverage. Now, unfortunately, it does have very good physical coverage, but it does not have the attack stat to really use it most of the time. But having its dual stabs in like Hyper Voice and Dazzling Gleam, along with Fire Blast, is usually able to cover pretty much everything. It's also got other options too, but Wigglytuff is a personal favorite of mine. And flowing right into that is another mon from that same team, easily the MVP of that season. It is Hitmonchan. Now, I also love Hitmonchan in this format. I think because that league was in Gen 6 and not Gen 7, the power creep at NU has definitely made Hitmonchan a little worse, but it still has pretty much everything that it had going for it before. It's a great Assault Vest user with that Spadef. Great Stab, Iron Fist boosted Mach Punch priority. Great coverage with, Iron Fist boosted Ice Punch, Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, along with other stuff like Bullet Punch is boosted. It's got Earthquake. It's got a lot of things going for it. It can set up bulk ups. I really, really like Hitmonchan. Just having really good priority so far with Hitmonchan and Abomasnow. I really, really like the team so far. It's a little frail on the physical side, not horrendously frail, but certainly not that bulky. And it's not super fast, but it does give me a spinner as well to help support Vivillon and Abomasnow. And I think it's a decent spinner. Not the best in the world, but certainly not, garbage bin. It's a decent spinner. But yeah, I've said what I need to say about Hitmonchan. Next, we have got Alolan Persian. I love this Mon so much. It is an amazing pivot with Parting Shot and that high base speed, which is even better in this format, which very few Mons reach the speed tier. Foul Play is very good for deterring physical attackers, along with Fur Coat doubling its defense. And another attack option that people forget about is it does have Technician and Nasty Plot. So, with its special attack, it can hit really hard with Technician boosted hidden powers. So it's got Surf, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, basically with the hidden powers. Along with Dark Pulse and some other options it's got. That's a really slept-on threat. If you're expecting a bulky defensive Persian and suddenly it nasty plots up in your face, you're in trouble. You're definitely in trouble. But even if it's not an offensive sweeper, just being a nice bulky pivot is fantastic for getting in threats like Abomasnow and Vivillon and Hitmonchan to sweep or to break. Parting Shot is so helpful. And just forcing, Scarfers because of its high base speed. Next, we have got Druddigon, which is a nice bulky stealth rocker, provides a little bit of offensive presence, 120 base attack. It is my second stealth rocker so far, the other one being Wigglytuff so far. And Rough Skin is always a good ability for, Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet shenanigans, and also more niche options like Sheer Force and maybe Mold Breaker, although that's extremely situational. I definitely like Druddigon. Having a defensive dragon type, having any dragon type at all, is pretty impressive down here in the NU tier because there's so few of them. But as much as I like Druddigon, I did end up swapping this Mon out, and that ended up being Golbat. So, Golbat is very, very fat with the Eviolite. The bulk obviously isn't crazy, but when you put an Eviolite on it and Roost, it's a thick boy. It is a very thick bat. I picked it up mostly because I realized I needed a better fighting check because I did not have a fighting resist up until this point, and Golbat is extremely good at doing that. Gives me another Defogger to help support Vivillon and Abomasnow. Takes the pressure off of Hitmonchan for spinning. And it can do a lot of the stuff that Crobat can do. It doesn't have the same speed, but base 90 speed is still fairly fast. I actually don't know. I'm just curious here. Can it Nasty Plot? It can Nasty Plot, although it doesn't have nearly as good of base special attack to take advantage of it. But hey, it's there. Other than that, Stab Brave Bird is nice, Taunt is nice, Haze is nice. It is a very good wall. Also U-turn, so even more pivoting. I really, really like where this team is going so far, because I don't feel like any of my walls are overly passive, and they almost all can pivot except for Wigglytuff. But I'm okay with that, because Golbat can't even get flinched. It is clutch like that. It cannot get flinched, or it can go through subs, which is nice. I really like the Golbat pick. I was surprised he was still left, honestly. It's a really good Mon. Next, we've got Lycanroc. Lycanroc, another fast Mon. Its ability is maybe not quite as helpful, because I don't have a Sand team, but another fast attacker, very strong attacker, 115 base attack, Stone Edge. It's got its custom Z move, which makes its Lycanium Z, Splintered Storm Shards very strong, and It does suffer from somewhat limited coverage, but if your opponent doesn't have a good rock resist, then they're definitely in trouble. And Lycanroc is actually my third Z user. I forgot to mention Persian is my second Z user because the Parting Shot heals up the Mon coming in to 100%, so that's extremely helpful. But Lycanroc gives me a third priority option with Accelerock. I really like having good priority, especially if I already think I have pretty good speed in general, but now I really command the speed with priority. And Lycanroc gives me yet another Stealth Rocker. It gives me, well, actually, because I got rid of Druddigon, it is back to being my second Stealth Rocker, but you see the Sand Slash at the end, so I've got 3. I'm fine. Yeah, I just like it for forcing that speed advantage, because if it is the fastest Mon on the team, or of both teams, then Banded Stone Edge is pretty free. Next, we have got my boy, Chatot. Not an amazing Mon, but it does get Stab Boom Burst, which is awesome. And it is frail as all hell. I love Chatot, but unfortunately, I had to drop it after the free agency picks to pick up Golbat because that gave me a third flying type, and I just can't justify it. So I love Chatot to death. Boom Burst, Heat Wave, Shatter, and U-Turn provides almost perfect coverage except for rock types, which I deal with very well by U-turning out into either Abomasnow or Lantern or Hitmonchan. But unfortunately, it just was not meant to be. Chatot could not be with us much this season, past week 2. So we did pick up a better special attacker at that speed tier. Gave me more options, and that is Haunter. Haunter was from my Season 2 run of the NBL. Incredibly powerful 115 base special attack with, you know what Gengar can do. With its dual stabs. It can do everything Gengar can, it's just not quite as strong, not quite as fast, but when you also consider it's down in NU, it's pretty equivalent. Can still do Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split, Hex options, or just, be Scarf or Specs. Haunter's really versatile like that. I really love me some Haunter. So, even though I had to drop Chatot, we got ourselves a really nice special attacker in Haunter, and I'm very okay with having Haunter. Gives me another ground immunity. At this point, I have 3. Lantern definitely appreciates that. Gives me a spin blocker as well. Unfortunately, no grounded poison type, but Toxic Spikes are definitely rarer down here in NU. But, we'll live. We'll be fine. Got ourselves a really powerful special attacker here. Finally, rounding the team out, we have got Sand Slash. It is a bulky boy on the physical side, not as much on the special side, but Stab Earthquake is always pretty powerful, gives me an electric immunity besides Lantern. It is another spinner, so I have got 2 spinners and a defogger. Technically 2, but to be honest, never going to be a defogger. So I've got pretty good hazard control overall. Gives me that third Stealth Rocker. It's an extremely reliable Stealth Rocker at that. And just it's able to sit there, eat up hits, deal some damage back. It's pretty simple, Mon, but, it gets the job done pretty well. It can set up its own sand in the sweep if it felt like. It does have Swords Dance. It can set up Sandstorm. But mostly it's going to be a defensive Mon. Utility moves, Earthquake knockoff, it's a simple Mon, but I'm very okay with that. But that is the team. I am very happy with this team. Is it perfect? No, but it's really hard to get one of those down in NU because Mons are down in NU because they have some serious flaws, and so trying to fill a complete team with just 10 of those flawed Mons is pretty hard. And I feel like I did about the best that I could. This team is definitely my playstyle too. It's gonna be fun. It's definitely gonna be fun, and I think I can win some games with this. So here's hoping having a good season. Now, if you guys like what the Oakland A's Elves are doing, make sure you like, subscribe, share. Do what you do with the YouTube videos. I'm gonna get on out of here and see you guys later.